trillions and trillions of dollars have flown into the U.S. from overseas because that's the place to be. That is fear of missing out and wanting to be part of the crowd and wanting to get out of your own country that's in the doldrums. Perhaps we're seeing that start to flow back out, flow back into Europe, flow back into the UK and Scandinavia and Japan and Australia and Korea. That would be wonderful because we're overweight all those markets. And importantly, we're overweight in those markets because they're really freaking cheap. And because they're really cheap and the narrative around them has been the UK is a basket case, Europe is a basket case, other countries just can't seem to get out of their own way. Again, those are the expectations that are in the valuation. So if you look at something like the UK, where the Prime Minister has come out recently and says, I'm going to reallocate money from social programs into defense spending. No one would have thought that was possible a year ago. That's a positive for economic activity. You're taking money from, may have been well spent on social programs, but it's non-productive. You're shifting that money into productive, building weapon systems, which, in and of themselves aren't fantastic things, but that is building out your industrial base and technology base. That's constructive. You're providing really good jobs. That's constructive. That's an up arrow on a very low valuation and poor sentiment market. And that's starting to spread within the UK. And Europe, something similar. I mean, Europe enjoyed their peace dividend, their 40-year peace dividend, by spending on social welfare programs, not on sharpening the spear, not on industrial policy to enable Europe to be incredibly capable and competitive without using coal and without having other energy resources, which are kind of the critical element of any kind of industrial policy. And you're now seeing them reverse course. So again, 10, 12 times earnings, less than half the multiple of the U.S., with expectations that are aligned with that, and little tiny arrows that are pointing up. Just those little tiny arrows that are pointing up has the Euro stocks outperforming the S&P by a mile thus far this year, which is what you're pointing out. But that is a gnat on an elephant's butt relative to the amount of money that could be flowing from A to B. And the U.S. market can take that. The U.S. market's so massive, it can take that money and absorb it into the system without the market going up 5, 10, 15-fold. What if that money tries to flow back out into Europe, into Norway, into the rest of Scandinavia, into the UK, into Australia? What if the Australians bring their money back?
Yeah, it'd be good.
The Mag 7 rolls over. It could be ridiculous what happens to gold.
Yeah.
And gold, typically, getting back to human nature, the average investor is a momentum investor. So the more something's going up, the more interested in it they are, regardless of valuation. So if momentum rolls over in the U.S., your momentum has now failed. So your investment thesis has failed. You tend to want to pull money from that. And you search for where there is momentum. Where's the momentum right now? It's in Europe. It's in gold. It's maybe in Japan. Economic activity in Japan is positively surprising. So these are much smaller buckets to try and capture that kind of momentum money coming out. And then it becomes the same self-fulfilling prophecy that we saw in the U.S. for 14, 15 years, where that money begets more vigorous activity, increases economic activity, increases industrial activity, increases the confidence of people who want to start up, the people who want to change for a better job, the people who want to get re-educated to get a better job or go out on their own, and that idea they had for a widget, they want to try and do that. They want to execute on that idea or that widget in Germany or in London. And you get that reinforcing cycle that may have the world call Europe exceptional one day. Why not?
Yeah.
We're all humans doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And, Europe can deregulate.
Yeah.
It is incrementally. You can't get more regulation than we have there right now. So that pendulum's swinging back the other way. But all these things that we observe about the U.S., are totally doable elsewhere. They aren't illegal. It's just there are impediments that need to get pushed out of the way.